Welcome to Business Reporter's Future of Supply Chain campaign. Enterprise Resource Planning, or ERP solutions, have been the core of business management for the last 30 years. Extended with additional modules, they can provide software for every function in the company, including procurement. Alongside ERP solutions, businesses use legacy tools, including spreadsheets and emails, to support their daily functions. But can these tools still meet the demands of today's dynamically changing business environment? Or does a best-of-breed approach offer procurement professionals a better alternative? Well, this is what we're going to discuss today with Alan Rafiq, CEO, and Nick Drew, COO of Market Dojo, the leading on-demand procurement solution. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning.
So how has procurement changed, do you think, since Market Dojo started up in 2010? How have you changed with it?
Well, procurement need access to data through very accessible systems, and it's very much a board level discussion now rather than working within the back office. Procurement need to very much take notice of managing risk, data compliance, and employing the right people, and they can't any longer afford to throw money away by working with uninsured suppliers or data breaches or employing people who don't share the same value. Reputations take years and years to build, but they can be destroyed in seconds through bad supply chain decisions. At Market Dojo, we believe there is a better way to manage data, mitigate risk, and deliver real value. We started off in a very small area, providing on-demand reverse auctions, which are very easy ways for companies to negotiate with a large number of suppliers very quickly. One of our recent successes for a large OEM manufacturer, they saved £50 million by spending £500 with us through a reverse auction, even though they had other tools to do the same type of thing. And we acknowledge that accessibility, and now our solutions cover everything from supplier onboarding to contract management to working with complex tenders. Our solutions are very much more than a bolt-on to a legacy ERP application and very much more than emails and spreadsheets.
And you mentioned ERP. What are the shortcomings, do you think, of ERP and legacy systems?
The main thing about ERPs is that they are driven by management to manage the complex needs of an enterprise, but at the expense of the end user. The systems are inherently very complex. They're not user friendly. As an example of the complexity, Lidl, the retailer, last year looked to invest in a ERP rollout, and they spent 500 million euros on a solution before cancelling the entire project. And the other thing is that they're just not fit for purpose, and they create problems to people and to teams rather than solutions. Again, as an example, I was at a utilities firm in the southwest not long ago who use an ERP for running tenders and involving suppliers to get quotations from them. And the suppliers themselves have technical issues, and they aren't able to raise those technical issues with the ERP provider. They have to go to the procurement team. And so the procurement team are spending thousands of man hours dealing with supplier problems, which is just not very good use of their time.
That's it. And how can the use of spreadsheets and email, do you think, actually create inefficiencies in procurement?
Emails and spreadsheets act as silos and are the true barrier to digital transformation. And there seems to be a reluctance in procurement to acknowledge the added cost and risk that these provide. Admittedly, emails and spreadsheets are familiar day-to-day tools for procurement professionals to carry out their activities, but due to their disparate nature, they create real challenges within the organization in terms of squirreling away essential company data, running tenders with less competition, or missing contract renewal dates. In terms of moving forward, what companies need is accessible solutions to gather all this data together. And if they can move away from emails and spreadsheets into these online systems such as ourselves, they'll have immediate returns, better data security, and be able to act more strategically.
And how are best-of-breed solutions far better for procurement specifically?
I suppose in part the clue is in the name, really, this best of breed. It's about that fit for purpose. What we try and do is make our tools very, very accessible. Our tools are everything that ERPs are not. They are fit for purpose. They are user friendly. They solve the problems rather than create the problems with things like the customer service. On the accessibility note, one of our clients is Interserve that we work with, and they started off with us just for 1 month of use of the product, £500. They put it on credit card, and within that 1 month, they secured themselves something like 1,000 times return on that investment. A huge success, and that fueled their further business case to go back to the business and say, we need more money to invest in these tools because they are working for us, they are successful for us, rather than the speculation that they might have in their business case before. And as another example, the best of breed tools really focus on the customer needs, the customer attention. So with ourselves, we have a customer love roadmap where every 2 weeks we gather the information, the requests from our customers, we prioritize them, we put them out to our development team, and they work on them for a release 2 weeks later. And it's that real focus on customer success and solving the customer pains that is what's driving the uptake from the users.
And if we think about risk, how are your specialised solutions better at managing risk?
To manage risk, you need transparency of information and you need clean data. Cleansing current data sets across multiple legacy systems, emails and spreadsheets is not impossible. Through our solutions, because of the uptake, procurement professionals all levels can capture their supply chain data and minimize the exposure to risk, which might come from anything such as missing a contract renewal date or working with suppliers who don't have the same accreditation. A lot of companies today, they want to talk about artificial intelligence and machine learning, but quite frankly, without that transparency of information and organization of information and clean data, that becomes a very difficult discussion.
Do you think there's a perceived risk, though, of companies taking on some standalone software like yours?
Well, there is, yes. Historically, enterprises always wanted that one throat to choke kind of mentality to looking after one single vendor that could provide the range of services. But when you move to standalone, there's this perceived risk that data is residing in different systems and that you end up with those data silos that you mentioned. However, modern tools today, they talk to each other so effectively. They can all integrate. And the beauty of that is they actually provide much better reporting than an ERP because those standalone best-of-breed tools are being used properly, with that focus on user friendliness. Another perceived risk of standalone is that there are other systems that users are going to have to learn and get familiar with. But again, these standalone tools, the best of breed, they're very user-friendly these days. You can pick them up in minutes, not months or years like ERPs. And so actually they can be quicker and easier to pick up than taking up a new module with an ERP itself. And one thing that really de-risks the whole thing is that standalone tools, if they're not working for you, you can switch them out. Very low risk, very easy to do. Whereas if an ERP is not working for you, well, like the case with Lidl, it's an expensive decision to make.
Expensive. Well, tell us about the future then. What has Market Dojo got in mind, considering that the procurement landscape is changing, isn't it?
Yes, it's changing all the time. I mean, in our view, you need professional tools. Salespeople, when they start with an organization, have CRM systems. Accountants, when they start with the accountancy departments, have accountancy systems. But procurement, the go-to tools tends to be emails and spreadsheets. So our vision is the creation of a procurement CRM, which is accessible to all levels of procurement in all sizes of company, not just the large companies. And through our model of accessibility, through the on-demand model, through the usability, we break down the barriers for procurement people to use the tools they need. And that creates an environment from which procurement can act more strategically and raise their profile internally.
Excellent. Well, really interesting. Thanks for telling us all about it today.
Thank you very much.